Hello, everyone, and welcome to another debrief with me, John-C. I hope that you all liked that video that I put up, and I'm probably going to say it more than once, but a special shout out to my mom as a thank you for her participating in the video. Just while everyone logs on, and I'm going to give it a little bit of time before I start taking some questions and stuff like that. I just have a few things that I want to say. The very first thing that I definitely want to say is don't forget, if you haven't already, I know you've heard us say this before, but make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit that bell so that you get those notifications when new videos are posted, and all those kinds of things. So a big hello to everybody. It looks like we've already got some people responding. I want to say hello to Noelle and a hello to Helen. It's great to see you both for this YouTube live today. I'm going to give it another minute before I start taking questions and all those kinds of things, because I did go live a little bit earlier than 4:45, but make sure, if you have not already, that you type up those questions and put them in the chat box, and I will definitely make sure that I answer those questions. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Nat Nell. Hello, Nat Nell. It's good to see you back again. And so I'm excited to answer all of your questions. And I think right before we get started with some questions, I'm going to get some stuff out of the way, because I've actually been watching the other YouTube live videos, and I wanted to share with all of you some takeaways that I had from filming that perspective drawing that we all had back on today. And I filmed it a couple of days ago. And so the first thing I wanted to say was, one of the easiest things about that was finding someone to do that with, because I was able to find my mom to do it with. And so this is definitely a great video activity for you to do with a family member. If you have a family member out there that you're currently self-isolating with, that you know you'd like to get an activity to do with, it would be really cool. And definitely make sure that you send us some pictures at info@moorelands.ca of you and your family members' pictures that you've been able to draw, so that we can see those, because I know that it'll be a huge treat for us to be able to see those, and to be able to see that you guys following along, and to see the things that you've been drawing and you've been getting to do. I personally got to draw a fish. As you can see, my mom is definitely the better drawer between the two of us, but I definitely think I gave it a really good shot. And I maybe picked up some of her drawing ability. She definitely has a little bit more than me, but I think I was able to pick up some of that drawing ability. And so it was really great, because it was a chance for my mom and I, we're both doing tons and tons of things all day long, where we have different work and different jobs that we're doing. And so to be able to sit down together and do this activity together was definitely a huge highlight. Something that I found really hard personally with this activity was, I am not the greatest at drawing. And so for me to be able to go through things and to be able to take that time to draw that fish was a little bit difficult. But I was able to power through, and I know that if I had a couple of more tries, I probably could have done a better job with all of that drawing. But it was definitely really fun to be able to do all of that, and really fun to be able to draw those things. So like I said before, if you haven't yet already, make sure that you're putting those questions right in that chat box. I can see we already have some people saying hi to each other and things like that, and that's great to see. And definitely make sure that if you have any questions, you put them in that chat box, because I'd love to answer all of your questions about this activity, and I'd love the opportunity to be able to chat about it with you and chat about some stuff that was going on, and all of those kinds of fun things. So definitely write those questions in if you haven't already, and that way we can answer those questions. One last thing that I wanted to share with you before I start taking those questions is I did want to share with you a suggestion that I had for if you're doing this activity at home. Is you could see that it was really easy for us because we were sitting on each side of the table. And so because we were sitting on each side of the table, we were able to easily draw things from a different perspective. But if you wanted something that was a different challenge that you could do, you could try sitting in different areas of the room. You could try sitting, in different spots around something. You could have everyone sit in a circle, and you all sit in a different spot around things. You could also try where everyone is you have more than just two people drawing, you have multiple people drawing, and that could be really good too. So I think it's time to take some questions from you guys. So the very first question I have here is from Cubix, and Cubix is asking me, what made me choose a fish to draw? So Cubix, that's a really good question. I was looking at different things that we had around that we could draw, and I was looking for, because it was a video, I wanted something not too big so that it didn't take too long for me to draw it, but I also wanted something that was easily recognizable by most people, not something that was a little bit harder to figure out what it was that we were actually drawing. So I decided to choose that fish. I did a quick walk around and quick looking at different things, and I thought that fish was a good thing to draw, especially because it would be really easy to see those different perspectives right away, because we were each on different sides of that fish. So we thought that would be a really, really good thing to do. I see I have another question, but right before, Cubix, thanks so much for that question. Jody is asking, what would I have preferred to draw with? So I do like drawing in pencil, because that way when you make a mistake, you can easily erase it and things like that. But if I didn't have if I could choose something else, something that I do really like to use when I'm drawing, which is a little bit harder if you make a mistake, but it's still more fun, is not the Sharpie markers where it's a thicker point, but a really thin, I think they call them the Sharpie pens. I do really like drawing with those Sharpie pens. You get more colors that way, and you get more variety that you can have in your drawing, and you also get an opportunity to be able to put a little bit more personal touches on things like that. And so that was also really exciting. So I'm going to keep going. Remember, definitely put those questions in the chat box there so that I have them there to be able to answer and to be able to, give you guys some feedback. But I'm actually going to ask you guys a question while I'm waiting for some more questions in the chat box. And the question that I'm going to ask you is, now that you've seen the video and you've been able to think about the activity, I'd love to hear what some people are thinking of drawing themselves and thinking of doing themselves when it comes to perspective drawing. So if you have something really cool at home that you think would make a really good drawing for this kind of activity, where you and someone else that you're staying home with so that you're staying safe could do, what is something that would be really good in your own home that you could draw? And so definitely make sure to include those in the chat box. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes so that I can hopefully read some of those out. think everyone's doing a lot of thinking. So Jody says her plants, which is definitely something good that you could draw. What are some other things that other people are thinking of doing if they were to do this activity? Or if you've already done it, what's something else that you would do? I definitely think some other things that I have that I would want to draw. Originally, what I thought of drawing was I thought of having us both draw what we could see out the window, because I thought that would be really cool to draw and to see the different perspectives there. I definitely thought about drawing. I have, for those of you who've seen my cabin at camp, you know that I have tons and tons of gnomes in my garden at camp. But I actually have one that sits on a bookshelf up here. So I thought about drawing that. Oh, I can see some people have added some things in. Helen has said she'd love to draw her dog, but her dog moves around too much. So she said maybe when she's sleeping, and Cubix gave the suggestion of drawing a rocking horse, which I definitely think would be really cool. Cubix, I'd love for you to send in that picture so that we could all see your rocking horse. So I think now I'm going to be on for at least another 5 minutes. And so definitely make sure that if you guys have more questions that you want to know from the video, definitely put them in that chat box so that we can definitely share those questions and answer those questions and things like that. I know one question that someone asked me was, how did I get my mom to draw with me? Because you know, a lot of people, even though we're all staying home together, your parents might be really, really busy. And so something that I did was my mom and I planned a time when we would both be free and we could both make sure that we could give all of our attention to that drawing. And so just like our habit is consider and understand, I had to really think about you know, the different things that take up my mom's time and really try to suggest to her a good time of when we could both do that. So like I said, I'm going to be around for at least now another 4 minutes. So make sure you put those questions into the chat box if you haven't already. I'm going to give it a minute or two to see some questions that pop up. I'd love to answer all of your questions and see what they were. I think with no real questions right now, I do have one more thing that I definitely want to share with you guys, and that is I want to give a big thank you to my mom for helping me out with this video. That was, you'll remember, our quality this week is caring, and she was nervous about being in a video this week, especially when I told her that that video was going to go on YouTube for everyone to see. So it was definitely not the easiest of things to be able to do for her. But I made sure that she could, you know, feel comfortable, and I took the time to really calm her down and to really listen to what her concerns were and have that conversation with her. So it wasn't something that I made her do. It was something that we got to do together. I see I got a question in the chat box here from Cubix. Cubix is asking me about my favorite arts and crafts activity at camp. Cubix, that's a really good question. There's definitely quite a lot of arts and crafts activities that we get to do at the camp. I really like when you get to draw the picture of your own little monster. I love. I don't always get to do it, but I love when I come into arts and crafts and I can see the campers get to work with clay. So I love seeing all of the different things that they've made with clay and that they get to paint and all that kind of stuff that they get to come home. Last year, one of the things too that Abs was doing in arts and crafts was they got to go on a little bit of a hike and do a little bit of landscape drawing. And I love doing landscape drawing. One of my favorite group of artists is actually a Canadian group that drew and painted the different things in Northern Canada, and they're called the Group of Seven. So if you've never heard of them before, definitely look up the Group of Seven because they are definitely great. I definitely really like them, but I think my personal all-time favorite arts and crafts activity at camp is definitely when we get to tie-dye things. I always love doing tie-dye. I've definitely had some things come out really, really well and some things come out not so well. So whenever I get to tie-dye, it's always fun to see the different things that come out. Oh, Cubix has asked another question. She's asked, aside from my gnomes at camp, what would I love to draw for this activity? That's a really good question, Cubix, because there's a lot of different things at camp that I think I would like to draw for this activity. I think it would be really cool to have some of the camp staff and I all sit on Front Beach and draw the different things along Front Beach, to be able to see the lake and stuff like that. I think that would definitely be really, really cool. Another thing that I think would be really cool thing to do would be to draw the camp dogs. Gilbert and Sully, I think, would make excellent pets to draw in as a portrait. Something else that I think would be really good to draw at camp that I would always love to draw would be when everyone's up at the campfire at Hub Point Campfire. We have a big campfire space where we have our full camp, or as everyone loves to hear Fisher and I yell out, all campfires. And to be able to draw everyone sitting around the campfire would definitely be really cool to do. And especially with someone sitting on one side of the campfire and someone sitting on the other side of the campfire, I definitely think that would be really, really fun. So I'm not seeing any more questions. I think I'm going to give it one more minute. If you have any more questions, definitely put them in the chat box. And right before I take the last of the questions, I'm going to remind everyone that we are here every day at 4:45. It's not me, it's someone else tomorrow. So definitely make sure that you tune in to see our YouTube lives every day where you can ask us all those questions. Don't forget, the easiest way to find out when we're going live or to find out when we put a new video up is to hit that subscribe button and then hit that bell, and it'll give you a notification. It'll have a little alert that pops up when we go live. I have it on my phone, so I always know when we have a new video that goes up or when one of the other staff are going live so that I can ask them questions. We are here every day at 4:45, but I know that sometimes I personally am so busy doing so many different things, I need that little notification to come up. So I definitely recommend, if you haven't already, that you hit that. And it looks like there's no other questions for me. I'm going to give it another 10 seconds to see if any other questions come in right before I end this chat today. Just to see if anyone else has any other questions. And it looks like not. So I want to thank everyone. I hope you really enjoyed the video. I want to send another thank you to my mom for participating in the video, and we're going to see you all tomorrow. So Moorelands kids, we out.